All right, and we are live with Ranique. Ranique is going to share with us today about her experience as a teacher, a Jamaican teacher in France. And like I always say, let me shut up and allow the guest to introduce herself, and then we'll get right into it. Thank you all for joining us. Please remember to like the live if you have not done so as yet. Whether you're watching now or after the fact, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All right, so Ranique, go ahead, please, and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Bonjour, bonsoir, ni hao, hola, hiya. I don't know wherever you are
Sophie.
in the world. I don't know where you are joining us, but my name is Ronique Small. My students call me Madame or Ronique.
Okay.
I'm currently living in Paris, France, but originally from Kingston 11 in Jamaica. Me and Malika went to the same teachers college in Kingston, so you know. I'm very humble. I'm big on life and living and going after my dreams and my goals. I love to travel and I love to read and I love to teach foreign languages. That's what I do for a living. Yeah, that's me.
That's fine. All right. So, Ranique, as I always ask everyone, you're from Jamaica, born and raised, right?
Yes.
Um, and you spent basically all of your life there. What encouraged you to move from Jamaica all the way to France? Apart from the fact that it's this lovely place that we've always heard about and it has the Eiffel Tower there. But what encouraged you to move?
Well, my main reason for moving from Kingston to Paris was that I needed to progress my French because
Okay.
I'm a French teacher in Jamaica, and unfortunately we don't speak French. We don't really speak Spanish. Like there is no room for the speaking of another language except for our beautiful patois and English. And so because I wanted to be fluent or more fluent because my French was good, but I wanted to be better. I said, okay, I need to go back to France. I need to spend some time there so that I can work on my French and to study in France. And yes, it was mostly for the progression of my French and my career as a teacher. So that
Okay.
was the reason.
You said go back to France. I know what you mean by that, but my viewers
Mhm.
do not. Could you
Okay.
explain what you mean by go back to France? Like you already said you were born and raised in Jamaica. So what you mean by go back to France?
Okay. I mean that immediately after Teachers College, I did the teaching assistant program in France.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 2 years because I really loved it. And I don't know, for me, it was a year off or 2 years off because we just worked for a period of 7 months. And in those 7 months, after 6 weeks, you would get a 2-week vacation break. So it was really just a lovely experience for me to be in the north of France. After that experience, I had returned home to Jamaica. And so that's what I mean when I said to come back to France because I
Okay.
did a aller retour between France and Jamaica.
Right. Okay. By the way, how long is the plane ride from Jamaica to France?
From Montego Bay to Brussels, it's about 9 hours long, and then from Brussels, you would take a train or a bus or a taxi to Paris.
Wow. And how long is that train
Yeah.
or bus ride?
It depends, like anywhere between 2 and 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
9 hours on plane and then another 3 to 4 hours by
Yes,
so
and the waiting time in the airport, it's 18
it's
to 24
all day
hours. Yeah,
basically.
it's basically yes, and two different
Wow.
time zones, so it's basically one day of travel.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. That's wow. That's a very long time, and I applaud people like you who can, travel for so long. It's a
yeah.
fear of mine actually. I
And
don't like to travel for hours,
people
huh?
like me people like me grudge people like you who are so close to Jamaica. You only need to fly for 3 hours to go home. And for us, it's like 7 hours, 9 hours. The thought of it makes us cancel the trips. Like, we don't even want to do it to get home because it's
Exactly.
so long.
Yeah. And then, like, I tell people I'm not scared of being on a plane, but I'm scared of being on a plane for that long. I don't trust the plane for that long.
Mm.
Like, yeah, that's
It's
too much.
okay. It's
What's
okay.
what's the fare like from Jamaica
I
to Paris?
mean, what's the airfare?
Yeah.
It depends on the company that you use and the time of the year that you travel. So it can be anywhere between 400 and I don't know, 1,500 euros. It really depends. All factors in consideration. It really depends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like triple the cost of a regular ride from Jamaica to closer countries.
Yeah, and there she goes boasting. There she goes boasting.
No,
Yes.
oh God, man. I'm not trying to boast. I'm just saying, wow.
Yeah, it can be really expensive, especially in the summertime. Personally, I don't know many Jamaicans who go home from Europe in the summertime because it's too expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So,
Yeah.
what was the process like for you getting to France? We spoke about, just traveling there from by
Mhm.
plane, but you're from Jamaica. How did you go about, landing a teaching role in France?
Okay, so for the job that I had received or obtained while I was in Jamaica, I don't know, one day I got up and I said, okay, I think it's time to go, so I'm just going to look for a job. And I started looking for, it was a lecteur or lectrice, we say, but it's like a teaching assistant but in the university, so you're at the university level. And normally you would need a master's qualification. I didn't have a master's qualification. I just had my personality and my teaching experience, and it worked. So I had applied for a couple of them. I got a couple interviews from my bedroom in Kingston, Jamaica. And
Oh,
then one of them decided that they really wanted me to be at their university, and so that's how I got that job. It's really just like googling and knowing what to look for. I didn't have an agency, I didn't have somebody look for the job for me. I really just said, I want this, I'm gonna get it, and I got it.
that's
So
awesome. But okay, so you applied directly to the school, the institution,
yes, i
institution
yes I applied directly to their online what do you call it, a portal. I
portal, I
just sent
guess.
my yes I sent my documents, and that was it.
So
And
just
I had applied for many, because normally I don't do two applications, I do 20, 30 sometimes. Like, if
I'm
i if
happy that you
I
said that.
yeah, because sometimes you apply for five and you get no. You get no, 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 no. We don't want you.
Mhm.
You're not qualified. That's
Yep,
normal. But if you
yep.
want something, you have to push. You have to keep going. You have to keep applying, because I always say something's got to give. Like, one of them have to accept me. Out of this 30
Exactly.
applications, yeah, out of these 30 applications, I must get one. I know myself, I know what I bring to this table.
Hmm.
I know how I can be an advantage or a plus to their team. They're gonna
Yep.
want me. Somebody's gonna accept my application, and so that's what I did. So yes, I did get a lot of no's. I did do interviews that did not get back to me, but I kept
Hmm.
pushing, and I kept applying, and so that's how I got that job, and I came back to France. And then I renewed that contract because my team was amazing. They loved me. I was the only black teacher there as well, the only Jamaican, the first Caribbean teacher at that school. So it was really,
Representing the whole Caribbean.
yes, it was really beautiful. It was an amazing experience for me.
Like, I'm still stuck on the point that you said you applied to multiple institutions,
Yes.
and I'm happy that you said that, because sometimes I'll have people in my comments saying, oh, I tried this, it didn't work out, and I'm like, when I apply as well, like you said, I applied to
Mm-hmm.
multiple. So, like, I'm here teaching US, I applied to
Mm-hmm.
multiple agencies. Like, you just have to apply to so many different ones, you don't know which one will actually stick. And I tell
Yes.
people, you may reject my application, but once I
Mm-hmm.
land that interview, I'm getting the job. So all
Yes.
I need is a chance. So
Mm-hmm.
people, listen to what Ronnie just said. Just apply
Yeah,
to as many as you can.
yeah,
You have some lazy people out there saying, "Oh my God, the applications are so long," or
yeah.
whatever. Listen, I'll
Mm,
sit down in a in a whole night and just this is my aim right now. I'm
that's
just
me. That's
applying.
me.
And once I get into
That's
that
me.
mode of just applying, I don't
Yeah.
care. Like I just keep going.
No,
Yeah.
it's normal. Like just like how you can spend 5 hours on Instagram, 5 hours on TikTok.
Right.
You get into job application mode. You sit, you apply for jobs, you search for jobs. All of the jobs that are labeled in the category that you want to be in, you apply for all of them, even if you feel like you're not qualified, because you never know. There might be something on your application that might interest the person looking for a candidate. So you just
Exactly.
apply. And for me, like every time I hear no, it's like a push. It's a push for me. I'm just like, okay, I need to do this. I need to go harder because wow, how could they reject my application? Like what
Do
are
they know
what
what
are they
they're
looking
missing out
for?
on?
Yeah, like what are they looking for if it's not me? So I'm just like, okay, I gotta go harder. I need to apply for more jobs, more this, more that. So yeah,
Mhm.
like hearing no's and getting rejected, it's okay, because again, that might not be the job for you. Maybe that's not the environment that you need to be in, and so you
Mm.
need to go, find your place. You need to go for it, because it's not going to come to you. Like we would love for the jobs to find us, but no, it doesn't work like that. You go hunt like a hunter until you find your catch, and that's it.
Right. Right. So, my question to you, oh, and just to be clear to everybody who is watching, what are you teaching in France?
I'm currently teaching English at the moment, so English as a foreign language.
Okay. All right. So just for the viewers. So you got
Yes.
through with the interview. How does
Mm.
it work after the interview? Because I'm pretty sure that you're not going as a visitor.
No.
And you didn't go through an agency, as you said. How did they go about helping you to legally work in the country? How does that work?
Well, first of all, my interview was a phone call.
Okay.
I I had a one time phone call, and then I had a Skype with the team, but already I knew that the job was mine from the phone call. So we did the Skype interview with the other team members, and then they said they would tell the secretary that I was the chosen candidate. And so
Mhm.
the secretary, she did all of the paperwork for my autorisation de travail. Sorry, I'm thinking in French. It's the work permit.
Work permit.
So she
Hmm.
did all of that for me, and they mailed everything to Jamaica and also to the embassy of the US, because in Jamaica we don't have a French embassy. Unfortunately,
Ah,
the one that we had was closed, and so we have to use the French embassy in Washington. And so
mm,
I had to also be sending emails to that embassy in Washington to say, hey, have you received my papers? I'm waiting to get my visa. I had to send them
right.
my passport as well to get the visa, and then they had to send the visa back to me, and then they had to confirm that they did receive my work permit. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to work in France. But the
Okay.
secretary, it was pretty smooth for me, except that I had to wait a really long time, because in France, after the last week in July, everybody's on vacation. Police, firemen,
Mhm.
teachers, doctors, lawyers. You can't get through to anybody, so don't even try. Don't even try. And
Wow.
so I had to wait a whole long time. I even got to my job late in France because the paperwork, it was slowed
Yeah.
down. The
Nobody's trying to work
secretary,
in their summer vacay.
no, no. For French people, vacation, no, you don't play with that. So I had to wait, but after that, everything was smooth for me.
Okay. All right. Did you have to pay for anything?
Yes, my tickets. I had to pay for my flight tickets to get
But
to
in terms
France.
of like the work authorization and
No,
everything that the transaction between you
no,
and Washington for you didn't have to pay for anything?
no. I paid for my flight tickets. The visa. I think I also paid for the visa. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember quite well. But in any case, the Schengen visa, it's not that expensive. It's one of the
Right.
least expensive visas. So yes.
Mm.
The
Okay.
I think for me the flight tickets were very expensive because it was last minute, seeing that I had to wait to get my passport back from
Mhm.
Washington, and then I had to leave for work immediately because I was
Yeah.
already late. So it was very expensive, but that was it. The work
Okay.
permit, I didn't pay for anything else.
Okay. So, all right. So you got through to work, the work permit, you had all your documents up. How did you go about finding accommodation? Did the school help you? What did you
Wow,
do? Who paid for
that
that? What was that process?
was difficult for me. First of all, people want to live in Paris because it's the dream, and I always tell people think twice about living in Paris, because
What?
because one of the horrors of living in this beautiful, magical, dreamy city is that you can never find anywhere to live, and
Wow.
yeah, that's our reality. It's very, very difficult to find accommodation in France, in Paris, not just France, in Paris. It's very difficult because the city, it has, I don't know, I think it's 8 million, I'm not sure, or 11 million people in the city alone. So it's very congested. There's no space. Like, it was very difficult for me when I just came. I was living with a French citizen who I had met in Jamaica. He's a very good friend of mine. I was staying by my friend, and then I was looking, online, trying to find accommodation. So I eventually found some places, did some visits, and then I moved on my own. So I lived in a, what do you call it? Something like a flat sharing with two other French women and myself. So it was three of us, very big apartment. Everybody
Okay.
had their own room. We had a very big living room. It was really lovely, really, really lovely, in one of the suburbs in Paris. But yes, I had to look far and wide to find it. And then I had to end up flat sharing, even though it was good for me. It was a good experience to do that. It was my first time flat sharing, but it was okay.
Was it a leasing situation where um you had a contract with that apartment or that flat for like 6 months, 12 months, or you could just leave whenever you
Uh, you could. It was half lease, half. You were free to leave whenever you want. Me
okay.
being that you get landlord notice at least a month, but
Okay.
you sign a contract with the landlord, and yeah, that was it.
Okay. All right. So more of a month to month situation. Hi Edna, watching from Ghana. Thank you all for showing up. Right. So that's it for accommodation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing anything. All right. So you're there. You're settled. You're living. What's a school like? Because you're teaching at a university.
I
Still
was.
as you were.
I
So you're no
was. That
longer
was. No, I'm not at the university anymore. I currently
okay.
teach in an international Montessori school. I
Not
don't
as an
know.
assistant, but like as
No,
the
I'm,
main.
I'm a teacher. Responsible for the I'm responsible for the junior high school of this
Yeah.
school.
Woo! Go Prinny. Principal.
Yeah. So
Okay, all right. So let's talk about it.
my that was my past life. That was my past
Mhm.
French life. No,
Okay.
I live alone by myself in my own place.
Yeah,
Um
you
and
settled.
I'm in a different school, but all of that is still part of my experience anyway. So valid.
All right. You know what? Before I go into your actual teaching experience there,
Mm.
I want people who are watching to know what are the requirements to actually teach in France? Because you already said that you have a background in foreign languages and you're
Mhm.
currently teaching English as a second language or as a foreign language.
Mhm.
But what's the requirement? Because what if I don't have a background in foreign languages or whatever? Like, talk to us. What do I need to actually teach in France?
Well, some people
English.
are very, very, very lucky because you sometimes you don't even need teaching experience. You just need to be an English native.
Okay.
Teachers and companies here, they hunt. You're like gold for French people.
Okay.
As long as English is your first language, you speak very well, you know the language very well, you can teach this language, then you're okay. You can find a job. But with teaching experience, of course, you can find a better job. You can get a better pay at the end of the month.
Right.
So sometimes you just need to be an English native, and then other times a bachelor's degree is required. Some teaching experience is required. Sometimes,
Hmm.
depending on where you are, you might require a master's degree as well, depending
Right.
on the job description. Yes.
So if I am a lawyer, so I do have a degree, but it's in law, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
native English speaker, I can possibly land a role as an English teacher in France.
It's very, very possible.
Okay.
Yes.
When I was in college,
I would, sorry, I would advise anybody that is looking to teach English as a foreign language in France or in any other foreign country. You can do the TEFL certification online. It's
mm-hmm,
teaching English as a foreign language. It's a very quick thing. It might take you between a week and 2 months, depending on your schedule. You do it,
mm-hmm,
you have that certificate for the rest of your life. So you will be a certified teacher of English as a foreign language, and that will be a plus on your CV. You can take it. You can go anywhere you want in the world, China, anywhere, to teach English as a foreign language. On top of you being an English native, you're good.
I literally did my last YouTube video was on this, on the TEFL.
Oh,
And
oh,
people, yes, yes, because I was telling people that with the TEFL also, even if you're not looking to move away, you can get a lot
yeah,
of online teaching
you
opportunities.
can.
Yeah,
Yes,
guys,
it's a very
I've been
I,
saying it.
yeah, it's a very good certi. Sometimes it's not the big degree that matters. Like it's the little things. Sometimes you need
Yep.
certification. Hey, hey, I have this skill. Hey, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes it's just when you find a certification that you think might be useful to you, you should just do it. Like the TEFL, I'm so happy that I did it because I don't have a teaching degree in English. I only speak the language because I'm a native, and that's what got me started in teaching English. And
Exactly.
now I have years of teaching English as a foreign language, years of experience because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get it, you guys. It's inexpensive for the most part.
Hmm.
There's so many companies
Yeah.
out there. Excuse me. And people have asked, how do I know which one is legit? And I tell people nobody has ever questioned the validity of my
Not
intel
really.
before.
Not, not
So like,
not really. As long as you have a certificate that says you can teach English as a foreign language, you're good.
yeah. All
But
right.
if you
So in terms of your experience as an assistant back then, talk to us about that. What was that like? What was your job description really? Um, Talk to us about
uh,
your job description there.
so my, my previous post as a lecteur or lectrice d'anglais, which means an assistant English teacher at the university level. I was at an institute for engineers. So
Okay.
I was teaching English, but also some technical English
Mm-hmm.
to these young professionals. And it was just to do conversation classes mostly. It
Okay.
wasn't anything technical. If it was technical, it was because I was pushing them. I wanted them to do a lot more than what was required because I thought that they had potential to do it. But it's not very technical stuff, like simple basic stuff, simple. Sometimes you start from the ABCs up to sentence construction and grammar and doing oral presentations in English.
Right.
Yes.
Um, so that's the job description. What was it
And
like? Yeah, go ahead.
in France, for assistant teachers, the head teachers, they almost always give you topics that they want you to do with their
Mm,
students. So déjà, already you have a guide. You have the themes that you should work on, the things that you should do. And if you don't, then you just you can Google stuff. You go online, you check for topics that you can do. If the students are at the A1, A2, I don't know, B1, B2 level in English, you find lesson plans at this level and you give it to the students. So it's not
so you
very.
had to do lesson plans as an assistant?
What was that?
You had to do lesson plans as an assistant?
Nobody checked. I was
Okay.
I was I was on my own doing my own thing.
Okay.
Nobody
I
checked.
like that.
No.
I like that.
No, nobody checked. No, when I was in a high school as an assistant teacher or at the university level, nobody really checks. They just want to know that you're doing what they ask of you to do. But you don't
Yeah.
have to write a lesson plan and hand it to your HOD. No, no. None of that
What was your
stressful.
working hours like?
Um well, as I said, being an assistant teacher, you have so much freedom. And even at the university level, it's not that difficult. So let's say I had 4 hours per day.
Mm-hmm.
When 4 hours are done, I'm home. I go home, I live my life, I do what I want to do. And then when I should be at work, I'm at work. So there's no time restriction on when you should come to work or when you should leave work.
Okay.
As long as you don't have classes, you're free.
All right. So I know there are many people here who are workaholics. So you're
Hmm.
working just for 4 hours daily. You can spare another 4 hours. Were you allowed to do a second job?
Legally, no.
Okay. Legally, no, but some people
No,
do.
yeah, legal,
Okay, got
legally, no.
right, because
But
you only have a work permit for that role.
yeah, you have a France is very strict on that, so you're not supposed to work outside of your stipulated hours. Don't do it.
And
Don't.
what if I do?
If you do and you get caught, you can be sent home. You can be deported to your.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Got it.
Mm.
All right. Tell about these first world countries. I don't understand that people need to hustle, but okay.
No, this country is France is not for hustlers. It's for people who work until they're tired at the end of the day and then
Mhm.
take vacations whenever they get time off. It's not
Okay.
a no. It's not. This is not the hustler country, honey. No, this country is no,
Okay.
no,
All right.
no.
So talk to us more about the role that you have now. How were you able to move from the assistant role
Mm-hmm.
to where you are now? Because you said that you're even in charge for the junior part of the
The junior
school,
high
yes,
school.
the junior high school. How did you
Mm-hmm.
transition from that to what you're doing now? And for the people who are just joining, as I say,
Mm-hmm.
people just trickling in, could you just say what you're doing now, for them, and how did you move into that?
Well, as I said before, I'm an English teacher in an international Montessori school. Montessori, as in Maria Montessori, the Italian educator. It's that type of institution, and I'm responsible for the junior high school part of the school. And
Mm-hmm.
the transition started by simply applying for the job that I found on indeed.com, went to the interview, and my boss explained that she would like to start the junior high school part of the school. So it's brand new, this department, this part of the school, and that she wanted me to help her to build it. So I
Okay.
would have in charge of the kids, etc., etc. The transition was okay because I had to do Montessori training. I've never taught in a Montessori school. I had no previous experience as a Montessorian, and so I had to do a 1 week training. It was done in Prague, but I didn't physically go to Prague. I did my training online, and then I got my certificate. And so after the certificate, then the experience working in a Montessori environment. And in my school, there are other teachers who were also trained to teach in a Montessori environment. It's very specific, very, very specific ways of living and teaching and guiding students.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very interesting. I really appreciate a lot of the things that Maria Montessori teaches us, of how for example, the students from 12 to 18, how they develop and become members of the society. It's very, very intricate stuff. So yeah, so far it's been good. I started this job last September, so it's still fairly new to me. Fairly new
Okay.
but good. Yes.
So previously you were teaching adults at the university, and
Yeah.
now you're teaching teens,
Yes.
basically. What's that like? What's the difference between teaching adults and teens in France?
There is a very, very big difference because young adults anywhere, they're more mature, they're more responsible, and they understand that their education is their responsibility. For children, they don't understand that part of the education. They think they're still in the phase where they think they're being forced to come to school, they're being forced to do exercises, being forced to be present in class, etc., etc. And even though in the school they have a lot of freedom, In my
Mhm.
opinion, they have a lot of freedom. It's still sometimes it's a very big struggle for me. And children, they're young, they talk a lot, they play a lot, they're easily distracted, concentration is an issue. And professionally, I've never had this problem, because I tried to avoid teaching younger children. I did my bachelor's in secondary education because of this issue. I never wanted to be in this position, but I really do love my students. They're very sweet, children. They never do anything on purpose, and they don't mean any harm. They don't mean any
Mhm.
harm, even though they will still, do what they have to, because they're growing, and we just have to allow them to be. We have to allow them to grow and to explore and to, come into themselves, to experience life. And puberty is a very big issue at this age. So, I really just have to deal. Some days are better than some. But
Right.
yeah, some days are better than some, but it's okay. For example, since the beginning of this year, we've been having a very rough time. I felt like I was in a tug of war with them.
Mhm.
But then, on Monday they had baked me a cake because it was my birthday, and did like
Oh.
a whole surprise. Oh my god, it was so sweet. I was so shocked. I was so shocked. And it was one of my most difficult students who headed that project. So it was very sweet. It was a very sweet gesture. And so to my mind, I was like, okay, so maybe they do like me, like it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So yeah, it's interesting teaching babies. I really do applaud teachers who are in the, how do you say it? It's the E word,
Early childhood.
early childhood.
Mhm.
Teachers who are in the early childhood department of education. Wow, hats off to you, because honey, it's very difficult. It's not easy at all. It's not easy.
You keep
My
saying
preference is
what are
still adult.
what are some of the disciplinary or what are some of the issues that you have with discipline, like specific issues that you have with discipline with these children, if you can say, or give
First of
us a few
all,
examples.
First of all, discipline does not exist in the French education system. How are you going to discipline these children? It's not possible. You
What?
can't. You can't. Like there's no way you can speak from now until tomorrow. If they don't want to listen, they won't listen. And if they don't want to participate, they won't participate. You have to
Wow.
pray. You have to pray, and you have to set your class rules from early to say, look, don't play with me. You do this when I tell you to do this. When you get your instructions, you do your instructions, you do your work, and we'll all have a peaceful life. If you don't do what you're told, we're gonna have a
Oh my
hard
god.
time. But discipline is hard, because in France, people are free, people know their
Mhm.
rights, and when the kids know their rights, they will tell you. They will say, mais Ronique, on a le droit. Every day I hear this, Ronique, this is my right. We can do this. We can do that. Like, and to my mind, it's just like, this is driving me crazy. Like, you're a child. Like, what rights? Like, you're a child. You're in school in front of an adult who's supposed to be, like guiding you, instructing you, etc. But it's really, really difficult. Like, you have to pray to have good days in school, teaching in France.
Wow.
You have to pray. You have to
Wow.
hope today's a good day. You'll get through your lesson without hiccups, without talking, shouting, etc., etc. Like discipline,
What do
no.
you
It
really do? Like, um,
and for example, like in a Montessori school, it's not a traditional school environment, so
right.
punishment doesn't exist. You can't punish the kids. You have to allow
No
them to.
detention.
Yeah, no detentions, no homework, no punishment. No, you don't do that. It's very liberal, this environment. You have to allow them to find themselves, to see what they want. If they want to do this, they will do it. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And that's the kind of environment that I'm in. I just have to allow them. So at the end of the day, it's really up to them. It's whether they want to do this or whether they want to do that. Sometimes I try to explain to them the benefits of being at school, the benefits of participating, the benefits of learning English as a foreign language, the benefits of being a good student, because sometimes it's just really, it can be really really difficult.
Wow.
Again, at the university level, I never had this issue. Never.
Mhm.
You know, young adults, they will come to class, they do what they have to do, and they're gone. It's
Right.
better. I My preference is still young adults, like teaching young
Right.
adults, people who are at the university, people who pay for their higher education, who know that they need to get this, they need this degree, they need this certificate. It's better for me. Like, that's where I'm most comfortable. But again, this experience in the college, sorry, I'm going to be speaking French and English, Franglish. In the college, in the junior high school, it has been very very good for me. And again, it will look good on my resume. I'm always thinking about my resume, like, how can this benefit me in the future, you know?
Right.
So no, there are no losses for me, only wins and
Yeah.
progress. So yeah.
But basically, based on what you are saying, if I should go to France tomorrow to teach, I am
Yeah.
going to be selecting a university where I could teach
Yeah,
young adults instead of the younger ones.
I think
But
it
you
would
know,
be better.
bless your hearts, those of you who can teach the younger ones.
I think it would be. I mean, there are some Jamaican teachers who don't have issues. They're really skilled in disciplining and classroom management of younger children. Hats off to them. Again, I don't have the patience. Sometimes I question why I chose to teach, because patience is not on my side.
Right.
Patience, repetition, those things that you expect from a teacher, sometimes for me it's a burden to have to do that. And so I'm just being very very honest with your viewers. I'm sorry if I'm too
Listen,
frank.
I love honesty over here. I don't like the sugar
Yeah,
coating. I like
but
it is what it is.
I am that teacher. If I have to repeat myself 100 times, I'm going to be tired and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be motivated to continue my class. I'm going to sit, I'm going to laugh with the kids. And I tell my kids, if you want to laugh, we will laugh for 2 hours. If you prefer to laugh than to no, if you prefer to laugh than to do your assignment or to participate or to listen to me, we will sit and we will laugh. Like,
Right.
sometimes, no, sometimes it doesn't make sense. You kill up yourself, you stress yourself as a teacher
Yeah.
because of these students. You go home with a headache, you go home feeling drained. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's really not worth it. Sometimes it's really
Right.
not worth it. So me as the teacher, me will sit down and laugh with them for the 2 hours.
But then
And
somebody,
I,
well, the question is coming to me.
yeah.
Do you have a specific curriculum that you have to finish at the end of the year, as an external examination or anything like that with these kids?
Yes, at this school we do the Cambridge exam
Mm-hmm.
because they're French, and so the school had already done the Cambridge exams for a couple years with the students. So we do. I have the Cambridge Young, what is it called? The Young Learners books for the three levels: starters, movers, and flyers. And I have
Right.
the three levels of students in my class. And so I work from this book. This is my manual that I use. Outside of this manual, because I used the manual to prepare them for the Cambridge exams. The Cambridge exams were done like 2 weeks ago, and so now they're waiting for their certificates if they were successful. Outside of that, we do, like, I prepare them to do an oral presentation on a country of their choice.
Right.
And then, in addition to that, my students are preparing an exposition on violence. So they chose violence as their topic. So all of their subject areas are linked to this one topic. So in history class, math class, English, Spanish, art, they all have to do something about violence. They create and prepare this exposition that they will do at school with an audience, of course, to show at the end of the year what they have done, what they have prepared. So
Okay.
that's it.
Edna says, I think I will love your class, Ranique. Laugh together indeed. By the way, we are
Like,
kind of lagging like 20 minutes, 20 seconds. So
mm,
whatever we're saying no, they're gonna like hear 20 seconds afterwards on their
okay,
end. So viewers, for
okay,
you all to know as well. So sorry if we're not seeing your comments in real time.
okay.
Um, but yeah. Okay, so they have to do that. And I asked that question just because you were like, okay, for some other classes, boy, if I can't teach today, this is what it is. I'm like,
No,
okay.
but no, but sometimes no. As teachers, you have to go with the flow of your students, because what
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna do if they're not? And especially again in a Montessori school, it's free. It's a free environment. You leave students; they work in autonomy. Like there's not
Right.
always a teacher over them with a whip. We don't even have whips. This is France. We're crying out loud. So you cannot steer them all the way. You guide them.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do the work on their own. That's the kind of environment that I'm in. So really at the end of the day, if they're not in, or if I ask them, do you want to do something else, would you like to work on your projects, would you like to go on the computer to do this, because sometimes they're interested in doing other things and they will be more productive. So it doesn't make sense to force them to do one activity or to do what you have planned on your lesson plan. We don't work with lesson plans. We sometimes we have to go outside of the lesson plan to help the
Right.
students to do what they have to do to make progress, because I don't know, sometimes lessons are boring, sometimes they're not captivating enough, and that's just the reality. I mean, in our society, maybe this is what adds to failure in some subject areas, because we have a lesson plan. We say, okay, I have to go from A to Z on my plan. I don't care what the students are doing, but this is what I'm doing as a teacher. We don't give them space to choose, to say, okay, miss, I think I understand exercise D. Can I do this one? I can't do the rest of them because I don't understand. So this is what I appreciate about Montessori. Like we give them space to grow and to experience, to do things that are interested to them, to do things that will help them. I mean, it takes more time, but they're free, they're in autonomy, they can work. It also helps them to become more responsible, more independent. So if the teacher is absent, okay, the teachers will text me, Ronique, I left this in math, I left this exercise. They know what to do, they can do it on their own, they can go for their exercise and they can do it. So yes.
Okay. Um, if how many students do you have in each class, by the way, or and how many classes do you have?
So the Montessori schools are smaller than the
Okay.
traditional.
All
Okay.
right.
So, for example, normally you shouldn't have more than 18 students in a foreign language classroom. I think that's an international thing, it's a global thing. If you have more than 18, then there's a problem. Maybe the school is overpopulated. I don't know what the problem is, but over 18 will be a problem for the teacher and for the students. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the Montessori school, with a smaller school population, me right now, I have 7 students in the school, in the junior high school, only 7. So it's a private international school. So the students, they get all of the attention that they need and that they don't
Mm-hmm.
even need. Okay.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
That's nice. I like
Yeah.
that. That sounds like fun for me as the
Sometimes
teacher.
some very it can be very fun. It can be very fun. At For example, one of the things that we do is we eat together. Most times in Montessori schools, it's the kids that prepare lunch. I've been to Montessori schools in France where I see the kids, they do everything from A to Z for lunch and dinner. They make the tables, they wash the dishes, they cook, clean the
Oh,
house, everything. Like that's the Montessori school. It's like preparing them to be in the wider society, but you put them in a space that they start to do these things on their own.
right.
So in my school, it's in the city, so it's we don't have a farm, which is normal for Montessori schools. We don't have a farm, we don't have a camp, but we have most of the basic resources that they need. So we eat together, we do a lot of things together, and so we're like a family, which is one of the things that I really appreciate about this job.
Yeah. All right. So you left for basically mostly building your French skills. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what have the benefits been of teaching in France versus teaching in Jamaica?
The benefits of teaching in France. I think the benefits of teaching in France is one, meeting other foreigners with a
Okay.
similar story. So for example, my best friends now, I don't think I would have ever crossed their paths in Jamaica. And I met
Oh.
I met them here in Paris. So you get to meet other foreigners who are studying, who are working, who are also trying to achieve the same goals. You have similarities. You meet colleagues who have things that they can pass on to you. You can learn a lot from them. You know, they're in the system, they're probably French or probably foreigners married to French people. You know, like there are so many things that you can take from them. And I'm still like, I still have good relationships with all of my colleagues that I've worked with in France. So you know, if there's anything that you might need, you can always call on them. And for me, one advantage is I get to study here. So I work and study, which for me is a very big, it's a very big advantage to be able to work in the French system and study the language. And so that's for me is like making a lot of progress. All of the progress that I left my country to make, I can do that now, being in the country of the language.
Okay. In terms of the resources that you have at school, how are they different from when you were in Jamaica? Or from, from what you know in Jamaica
The resources.
for like teachers, students? Is it more first or like?
I would say currently where I'm at, it's very first world like the students, they don't buy books, they don't buy any of the resources that they need. All of that is provided for them. Teachers don't
Wow.
buy is either. We have everything at the school, everything is prepared, the environment is very well prepared. We just need to
Mm,
show we just need to show up and do our jobs. As well as I find that the lunch that they provide the kids, which in most French schools, even public schools, it's free. The lunch is
mm,
very bad. I love Jamaican food, but rice and peas and chicken every day, it's, I don't know, it's not the healthiest thing to eat.
yeah.
And at school here they have always either a fruit to start, they have vegetable, there has to be vegetable on the menu, there has to be protein, all of the things that you need in your body, the healthy things. I find the French lunch to be very, very healthy. And
Mm.
so for me that's a very big plus. That's a very big
And
plus.
it's free for even teachers or just for students?
Yes, I don't pay for lunch. And
Ooh.
if your school doesn't provide you lunch, you get restaurant tickets. So even people who are not teachers, they get restaurant tickets from their workplaces, so they can eat anywhere in the city
Mm-hmm.
that is with this ticket. And most restaurants in Paris accept the lunch tickets.
Mm. How do you get
Yeah.
around in France?
I take the public transportation system because it's very efficient. We have already 14 metro lines. With the 2024 Olympics, we will have 15 or 16. I think they're adding two more.
Wow.
So already we have everything: metros, buses, taxis, night buses for people who go to the clubs and parties. And we
Mm-hmm.
have trains as well, plus Uber, people hitchhike, like there's everything. In Paris it's impossible to park, so people who drive, they end up spending another hour in their car trying to park in the city. So for me, I like being in the public transportation system. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Right.
I get to be where I need to be on time in most cases. So yes.
If I have a spouse and possibly children, can
Mm-hmm.
I migrate with them? So, like, I land the role as teacher in France, and I
Mm-hmm.
have a spouse and children. Would my family be able to migrate with me? Would my spouse be able to get a work permit as well? Do you know anything about that?
I think that would be a very difficult task. The
Mm,
French education system does not work like that. It's not so easy like it is in America.
mm-hmm,
Um, you can be naturalized here, for example, if you have lived in France for 5 years without leaving the country, or if you have studied, you've done a master's or a bachelor's degree, for example, for 2 years, you can also apply for citizenship. Your family can come with you if you're married to a French citizen or if you're French. Outside of that, it's almost impossible.
wow.
No,
Wow.
it's no. Immigration is very difficult here for us.
Mm,
It's
wow.
very it's very difficult, it's very complicated, and paperwork is like a sport for French people. They
Wow.
like, so you will die trying to find the papers to give to them that they might
Mm.
you might you might have to find. It's a sport. It goes like this, like this, like this. It's very difficult. It's very, very no. So that's also another advantage for teachers who teach in the US, that it's easier to like be integrated into the system.
Mm-hmm.
In France, it's very difficult. It's very
Wow.
difficult. Yeah.
So if I'm not yet a citizen and I have a baby in the country, would my child be French or no?
No. Your child being born on French soil does not equivalent to French citizenship. Your child
Mm-mm.
can have citizenship at, I think it's 12 or 13 years old. So if your child has been educated, schooled here, grew up here, then that child can, you do the application for your child and the child can have the French citizenship.
Wow.
But no,
Wow.
it's not
Very
equivalent
wow.
in Europe either. Like, no,
Just
unless
Europe
even,
in general.
I think that's a European thing. Like even
Mm.
in England, if you don't have a British parent, you won't be British. You
Mm.
you
That's good
won't
to
be.
know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
Okay. What are your do you get days off? Can you apply for like sick days? What we call it
Wow,
in Jamaica? We have
that's
sick
one of
days and we have personal days. Do you get those?
yes, you get personal days, you get days off, you get 2 weeks vacation every 6 weeks, plus
Okay.
plus summer holidays is two
How long
months
is
long. It's 2 months for the summer holidays.
wait, back up. Wait, because I interviewed Deirdre when
Mhm.
she's in England, and she said in England they get the same 2 weeks after every 6 weeks, but for
Mhm.
summer they get only 1 month. But you're saying for summer you still get 2 months?
Yeah, we get 2 months.
No man, this
July
sounds
and
good.
August. That's one thing that I love about living in France is the vacations
Mhm.
for me. Like
Do you get
it's like,
paid during their
yes,
summer?
it's paid vacations, honey. You get paid during
Okay.
this. It's paid vacations. Yeah.
All right. So how
French
the sick
people,
leave and the personal leave go?
um
What are those
for
like?
example, at my workplace we get like 5 days out of the year
Mm,
for sick leave and personal
mm.
days. It's five in total.
Oh, so that's combined. S-
It's sick leave and personal days, yes. It's
So that
combined.
means if I'm sick for more than 5 days, that will be coming out of my
It will
pay.
be, yes, it will be deducted from your paycheck. You won't get paid.
Wow.
You won't
I
get
don't
paid
like
for.
that. I
So
don't like that.
you get paid if you're sick for more than 5 days in your job. You still get paid like the
Um,
same.
we have more sick days. So how it works in most school districts in Georgia is
Hmm.
that every month that you work, you get one sick day, meaning it accumulates. It accumulates.
Okay.
So if you're just
Okay.
starting out, so try not to be sick in like the first semester, because you
Mm-hmm.
want to accumulate as many as you can, so or as much as you can. So like after the first year, you would have accumulated 12
Well,
sick days and it rolls over into the next year. So after working for
wow.
2 years, you'd have 24. 3 years, do the
Wow.
math.
That's
Right.
nice.
So I don't know if anybody taking like 20 days, sick leave or whatever, but you
Mhm.
can definitely be sick for more than 5 days. You fill out whatever needs to be filled out, you communicate with whomever needs to be communicated with, get your doctor's
No.
leave, whatever it is.
And I think
Um,
that I think that because I mean it's Europe, it's cold and it's wet. People are always sick. Like you have to be at work when you're sick, unless you're
yeah.
like dying and it's too hard, then you don't
Mhm.
go to work. But being sick, people come to work sick. It's okay. Like it's for us, it's nothing. I mean,
Wow. But I'm even
maybe,
thinking of
maybe that.
like COVID,
Hmm?
because like when I had COVID, I had to be out for a full week. I was sick.
Okay.
Um, and that would
No,
mean
COVID is different. Like
okay.
you have to be at home. I don't know how my boss would have done that for people who had
Mhm.
COVID. time, but yeah, you'd have to be home with COVID. That's different.
TR is saying that in the UAE, they get 15 days with full salary and 15 more with half pay. So we need France to do better in that department.
Yeah. But I think they would argue that already we have 2 weeks every 6 weeks. And then we have, like, for example, in May, we had like on Monday, we don't go to work, it's a holiday. Um, the week before, we had 3 days last week. So we didn't
Mm-hmm.
work for 3 days. So, for example, in different months, you have like some months have a lot of days off. Like you don't go to work, you stay home, you have long weekends. So we have
Yeah.
lots of that long
So if I'm sick,
weekend.
I just need to tough it out
Yeah.
and wait until I get a day off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What are
Try
the healthcare
try not
benefits?
to work.
What are the healthcare benefits like for you as a
It's
non-citizen? Like if you're a
free.
non-citizen,
It's free. It's free.
health is free.
It's free.
So I just go to the doctor's office and I don't pay anything,
Most times I don't pay anything. I pay zero
or even
dollars.
dental and eye care too.
With my health card, I don't pay anything. And then I had gotten extra health insurance, like when I had braces. I
Mm-hmm.
had got extra health insurance, and so my health insurance helped to pay. They paid like I wouldn't say half, but like almost half of what I had to pay for my braces, as well as the health system. They did reimburse me some money. But like if you go in for a doctor's visit, you normally don't pay. And then if you do pay something, like if you do pay for medicine, you get reimbursed either with your extra
I
health
like
insurance
that.
and with by the government, because it's
What about
free.
major surgeries? Do you know about that? Like apart from the everyday healthcare
For
visit,
for major surgeries, I would advise that you have health insurance, like
insurance.
extra coverage, and then you will get
Okay.
like 100% reimbursement. Like now, I have extra health insurance at my workplace, so I don't pay for
Mhm.
any. I go
So
wherever.
who pays for your health insurance? You or your workplace?
Well, it comes out of my paycheck
Okay.
automatically.
Is it a
Yeah,
lot or is it reasonable?
I think it's reasonable
Okay.
because 100% coverage, and I don't know,
Yeah.
like sometimes you're really sick and sometimes you're barely sick. So like I don't know. Let's say you spend 100 euros on medicine, you're getting all of your money back. Whatever you
Mm-hmm.
do, you get the money back. It's like
So it's
almost,
definitely a win. I
yeah,
definitely like that about the
it's a
healthcare
win.
because
It, it's a win. And as a
yeah,
foreigner, I do love the fact that we do have that. Like we do get access to this healthcare system in France, because already it's very good. And like if we don't have access to this, can you imagine how much money we would have to pay as non?
yeah,
So that's a very big plus for me. I really do appreciate that part
yeah.
of living in.
All we're trying to do as human beings is we're just trying to live, and that free
Yeah,
healthcare definitely helps us to live a little bit longer.
trust me,
Um,
I'm happy. I'm so happy I don't have to pay most of the things that I do in France. Like I don't pay for blood tests. I don't pay for seeing a doctor. It doesn't
wow,
matter what doctor I go to. I don't pay. I just go and say this is what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
that's so
So
nice.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go back to your whole living arrangement. I know you're
Hmm.
out of the whole shared apartment situation.
Yeah.
Um, Let me first ask, without giving your personal in details or whatever, would you say that what you were earning as an assistant, let me
Hmm.
start with the assistant salary first, was
Hmm.
that decent? Worth leaving your country for is what I'm asking. You can just say yes or no.
Yes, and I can say that I was making. I can tell you because that's in the
It's up
past.
to
I
you.
was,
Like I don't like force people
yeah,
to tell.
I
So
was
it's up to you.
making like close to 1,300 euros,
Monthly?
and my yes, and
Okay.
my rent was like 400 euros. So I
So
would
you were
have 900 euros
100.
left. Yeah,
Okay.
and I as an assistant, and that was minimum wage in France. It was
And
minimum.
guys, remember, she was only working for 4 hours. So
I mean,
so that
it was
definitely.
was like 20 hours a week, sometimes less.
Right,
Sometimes I wasn't doing nothing at work. So,
right.
yeah. And you have an assistant job, come on. It's like you're on vacation for the entire academic year. Like, it's
I
stress
think that's
free.
reasonable.
Yeah, like it's good. And this is why I did it for 2 years. Every time I got an assistant job, I did it for 2 years because I had the money, like I could afford rent and I got to
Yeah,
save a lot of money. So, it was good. It was
that
good.
was definitely reasonable because because when you're looking at your salary, you have to look at how many hours you're working with what you're
Yeah.
earning, and that definitely makes
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
sense. And
Yeah.
once again, I'm not asking for your personal information unless you choose to
Yeah.
share. Would you say that what you're earning now is
Hmm.
significantly higher than that salary, or it works out?
It's significantly higher than what
Mhm.
I would make as an assistant. It's way higher than what I would make as an assistant. And
Okay.
rent is okay. Like it's not
What's
even
rent
half of
like now? Can you tell what rent is like now that you're not like sharing
uh
anything, or
um
up to you?
rent. Okay, rent is about 650 euros.
Okay.
Outside of light, internet, the utilities are not in
Is
that
this for like
60.
a one bedroom, two bedroom?
It's a one bedroom studio,
Okay.
kitchen,
Studio
bathroom.
apartment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's not bad. All
No,
right,
it's not bad. It's
utilities.
good.
Because when I heard the utilities for England, I almost died. What are utilities like? What's light,
Uh,
water, internet?
Honestly, like light, winter is rough. Like
Mm.
it really depends. I mean, some French people never turn their heater on. They will sleep in the cold. I can't do that.
Mm-mm,
I
no love.
cannot, I cannot and will never do that. So sometimes my light bill is really high, like 80 euros, sometimes close to 100. Like it really depends. It
That's still
really,
not
really,
bad though.
it's okay. But it
Okay.
really, and now that it's spring, summer, it's gonna be warm. I won't be using my heater, so my light bill will be lighter.
Right.
And then there is internet, then there is insurance for the apartment, then there is what else do I pay?
Oh, you have to pay insurance for the apartments?
You have to pay insurance to live in the city. Like you have to pay insurance to exist here
Whoa. Okay.
as a
Wow.
human being. You have to pay.
Got it.
Yeah, it's called assurance d'habitation. So you have to
Okay.
pay. And most landlords they want you to insure the place, like just in case of a fire or anything, like it will
Like
be
we
covered.
we have that, but it's like optional where I'm at, and we pay like $10 monthly. Not much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you can find the same insurance like cheap. 10, I don't remember how much I pay, but it's not more than 20 euros.
Okay, so nothing to be
Yeah.
upset about.
Nothing too crazy. It's okay.
All right. Do you miss anything about your country? I mean, apart from beaches and those things, like
Oh my god. I miss everything about my country. I miss my family. I'm alone in France and wow, being in
wow.
Europe alone, especially in
Mhm.
this beautiful city of Paris where everybody is always depressed. This is the city of depression. The city of love, but also the city of depression. This is the side of Paris that people don't know about, honey. It gets
Mhm.
lonely. So I miss my family. I miss the food. I miss just being in the ghetto, walking outside, talking to everybody, the neighbors, going to the shop for no reason, just to chat with
Mhm.
everybody. Like I miss everything. The dogs on the street, the noise in the
Not
street.
the dogs.
I miss I miss I miss
Oh my god.
everything. I miss everything about Jamaica, like everything. I miss everything. I miss
Oh,
everything. I'm homesick. I'm really homesick.
she said the
Yeah, I
dogs.
miss yeah. I miss home. I can't wait to go home. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to go home, but yeah,
Whenever
I
it
miss.
is, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So guys, we're almost ready to wrap up. But in the meantime, if you do have questions for Ranique about France, anything that you want to know about France, culture, school, whatever it is at this point in time, please put some questions in the comments for Ranique. And while you're thinking of your questions and typing your questions, Ranique, I'm just gonna ask you to
One
okay. Right, guys. So put your
and
questions in the chat. Doesn't matter what it is, France, Rani, whatever. Yes, Rani. In the meantime, I'm gonna ask you to just say something in French for us. We already hear you saying, already fighting yourself not to use French. All right. Let me tell you what I want you to say in French for us. Hmm. Basically, the same thing that you just told us that you missed, about Jamaica. Just say all of that again, but in French, while these people are thinking about their questions. Go ahead.
euh, j'ai hâte de rentrer chez moi. Mon pays me manque, ma famille me manque. Je rêve d'aller en Jamaïque, sur les plages, en mangeant des plats jamaïcains, la musique, les fêtes jamaïcaines, mes amis, tout. Ça me manque beaucoup. Ouais, hein.
Okay. You said you missed the Jamaican parties. What about the Jamaican parties are so different from partying in France, I should
First of
say.
all, we don't we don't have good Jamaican parties. First of all, the Jamaican community in France is very small. Like, you almost know everybody except for the people who are hiding because they want to hide. And the parties can never be the same because, one, it's not the same people, it's not the same environment. You're not like in a street dance, you're inside a club or a bar or something. It's just not the same. Like, it's not the same populace, it's not the same vibes. It's just not
Hmm.
the same. Like, it cannot be compared. And I've been to England, and whoa, the parties in London, it's like the parties that we used to have like in 2005 until like 2018. So,
Okay.
old school dance hall. People dress up, dress to the T. People go out, they drink, they have video lights and everything, just like how we used to do it back in the day. Like, and I love it. I feel really at home in London. And I always say if I had to move from Paris, I would live in London because of the fact that there are a lot more Jamaicans, and
Mm,
it feels like home.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Edna is asking you, can someone who doesn't speak French teach in France?
Yes, you definitely can. You
All right.
definitely. I know Jamaicans who have done that.
Somebody else is asking, Stacy's asking, how are the children's okay, she did address this, but how are the children's behavior and do you have to dress up? Okay. I did have that question to
The
ask you. I
dress up,
forgot.
yeah, the dress up part I can respond to. I already talked about my kids and the fact that discipline doesn't exist, and yeah.
Right.
Um, Dressing up, people dress casual to work. It doesn't matter where you work. You could be the
What do you mean
executive
by
of,
casual for
like,
people?
jeans and a
Okay.
shirt, jeans and
All
a
right.
shirt. Yeah. So sweatshirts, t-shirts if it's the summer, because we have extreme temperatures in France in the summertime. So t-shirts are allowed. Shorts. I was frightened. I went to work last summer and I saw a teacher in a shorts. So those are
How,
allowed. Like,
how short were the shorts?
short. Like, you could see her thighs. Short.
Like,
They
no, I
were short.
understand. Like
Not
close
not
to
like
body rider shorts
no,
or
no. It wasn't a body rider shorts. Just like
okay.
shorts. Shorts that you
Okay.
can wear to work.
Like okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I have to say that that part of France was a culture shock for me when I just came here, because in Jamaica, like, people are itty tighty about looks.
Right.
Your physical appearance is like, wow, like, you can't even go to the NHT without having a full sleeve, no sleeveless, no this, no that. So coming
Right.
out of the Jamaican society to a society where people are so liberal and free, like, for me it was like, wow, how am I going to wear jeans to work? I feel so uncomfortable. I feel like this isn't appropriate. Like, I had to get accustomed to, like, wearing casual clothes to work. But now I'm happy because
Right.
most days I get up, I throw on something, I don't have to iron,
Right.
and I'm like, I love it.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I am not seeing any more questions right now, guys. I'm not seeing any more questions. So I'm going to say thank you to Ranique for sharing with us about her experience in France.
Je vous en
Huh?
You're welcome. You
I'm
are
sorry,
wel-
I can hear from you a little bit.
I said je vous en prie. You are all welcome.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, right. Some of the things that you actually said, I never expected to hear, like when you were talking about the discipline with the students, and I'm
Mm.
like, is it that the whole discipline thing is like maybe that's like a Caribbean thing? Because from what I'm hearing from these interviews that I've been doing, apparently most of the first world countries, it's very, very
Yeah.
liberal for the kids, and everybody know their rights. But rights
Mm-hmm.
don't exist in Jamaica. And don't for people who aren't Jamaican listening,
Yeah.
we do have rights for our children, but
Yeah.
it's a different
It
environment.
Yeah, but the thing is, I appreciate that, and I miss that about Jamaica. Like the
Mhm.
teachers, they have their place in the classroom. The students know that the teacher is the head of the class. Like the teacher is the
Right,
boss, not the richest kid telling the teacher, I can do this because my dad is this or my mom is that. Like, so I really do appreciate the fact that it's like that. It's like
right.
that in Jamaica. I wish it was like that in France, but it's not the case, and so I have to adapt. I have to get with it.
Their world, not your. It's their world, and you happen to be living in it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Voila.
All right. So, thank you once again, guys. If you do
You're
want to
welcome.
get in touch with Ranique, I did include her YouTube in the description. Would you like to share your IG? I wasn't sure if you wanted to share your IG.
My Instagram is the same. It's petite feet big streets. It's all things travel, life, teaching, etc. So you can
Right.
find me on Instagram and YouTube. It's also petite feet big streets.
Right. And I did put it in the description box, the link to her YouTube. So guys, if you do want have further questions for her, you can find her on Instagram, find her on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that she'll get back to you
Yeah.
when she can. So thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. And
You're
goodbye,
welcome.
viewers. Viewers, thank you for watching. Please hit
Ciao.
the like button. And yeah, bye people. Ending.